Hello everybody, I'm Jim Longworth. Welcome to another edition of Triad Today, and coming up later on, our infamous roundtable gets together. We'll tackle all sorts of controversial topics, but between then and now, we have some great guests and important information coming your way. For one thing, we'll tell you why opera is something for all ages of kids. It's going to be fun. We'll also give you some tips on dental health, keeping care of your teeth and gums. Dave Briggs will be by to tell us what's coming up in the new season at the High Point Theater, that and much more. But first, we turn our attention to something I'm excited to learn about. It sounds really neat, and it has to do with making soccer available to all kids. And we have three grown-up kids next to me that are going to help us with this topic. On my immediate right, David Daggett, our good friend, is on the show very often, and he's, of course, with Daggett Shuler, attorneys at law. Next to him, our very special guest that David and Griff brought with us. Sydney Beason is a senior at Forsyth Country Day and a student leader with something called TOPSoccer. We're going to find out about that in just a second. And, of course, bringing up the rear, our good friend, Griff Shuler from Daggett Shuler. Welcome, everybody.
Thanks, Jim.
Thanks. And let me start, guys. If it's okay with you and Lori, our director, I want to go to Sydney and spend a couple minutes with her on this soccer thing. First,
you spend all the time with Sydney. Yeah. She's better than us.
Well, David and Griff are going to be leaving. That's right.
Than me.
We'll just kill David and Griff's minds. That's right. Sydney, what is TOPSoccer?
TOPSoccer is a program run through Twin Cities Soccer, and it allows kids with special needs to come out and play soccer. It doesn't always have to be soccer. Sometimes it's duck, duck, goose. Sometimes it's taking a walk around the track. Basically anything that the athlete needs. And we have kids with all different kinds of special needs that basically just get together and have a good time.
It's admirable. I love it. But let me just ask a stupid question. Why is it important, do you think?
I think that it allows to build a community within Winston-Salem. We have kids from all over that come with all different special needs. It allows for the parents to communicate with one another and build strong relationships there. It allows the athletes to build relationships with buddies, and the buddies to watch these athletes overcome challenges that they are accustomed to.
Well, you talk about buddies, and of course I introduced you, part of your introduction was that you're a student leader. So let me ask you, in that role, what would you and buddies and other folks do specifically? Give me an example of how they would help some of the other kids.
So our job is to basically make the program run. We do everything from get sponsors to get trophies to get cake to communicate with the athletes and buddies, but as well as be a resource for the buddies if they're encountering different challenges with their athlete, that we're really the right-hand man to come in and step in, and we're
So that student leadership board is really important. How did you get involved with that?
Yes, so it's a process that you submit an application and then you have to go through an interview process and then you're selected.
I want to turn to David Daggett here for a second. David, why did Daggett Shuler get involved in TOPSoccer?
Well, we've been involved with twin soccer for a number of years.
Right.
And then the executive committee of the student leadership came to our office to make a presentation, and I sat there and cried.
We were blown away.
We were blown away. They were so impressive. It was like they had us at hello.
Yeah.
It's terrific. It's also a natural connection with the focus on youth that we've had in the community and the focus that we've helping people with disabilities and those sort of things. So you have disabled kids, Down syndrome kids, right, all across the board, and it's a model of inclusion and acceptance for that community and for their families. Very special.
Absolutely. Griff, why are you excited about it?
Well, the buddy system I think is really neat. My daughter is involved with it. She's played soccer with twins for a number of years. She's good friends with Sydney, and she got involved with it and as on the buddy level. And each Sunday when they have the program, the buddies are matched up. It's usually one or two buddies with one of the athletes, and they go around with them, and the athletes hug on them and love them all during that day, and they make that special connection. And then the next week, they come back, and they may have a new buddy the next week. But it's exciting because then they get to bond, and it's just really special that you have these teenagers that are involved in it, that want to be involved with the athletes, and it's a very neat program.
Sure. And Sydney, how long does the TOPSoccer season run?
There's 2 seasons, one in the spring, one in the fall, and it lasts 8 weeks.
And I'm going to put up a couple of websites here because I'm assuming that parents and everybody who are interested can sign up through these. One is the twincitysoccer.org, and the other is twinsfoundation.org. And Sydney, that you can sign up and find out more about it through that, right?
Yeah.
Also on screen, DaggettShulerLaw.com. I hope you'll check that out. These guys do so many great things in the community. And also a quick shout out to our friend Catherine Vernon, who just does all sorts of great things to keep this show running, and we appreciate her help. All right, and Sydney, thanks for all you do.
Yes, thank you for having me.
All right, we'll be right back after this. Oh, back now on Triad Today. And before we get to the round table, just want to hold up this copy of Yes Weekly. I hope you'll get it in spite of the fact that I have a column in there. Now, to the round table, and sitting in for our good buddy, Ogie Overman, who's still recovering at home from his surgery. On my immediate right is the illustrious David Daggett from Daggett Shuler. You saw him earlier on the program talking about that great soccer program for kids. Next to David is my good friend of 140 years, the chairman of the County Commissioners in Forsyth, Dave Plyler. Next to him, B.J. Barnes, sheriff of Guilford County, a man who once arrested Dave Plyler just for being associated with me, which I thought was not appropriate with him. Now, anyway, all right, let's get to these topics. Teacher walkout, teacher march to Raleigh. One state lawmaker, guys, said that teachers who left work to march to Raleigh for better pay should have waited 3 weeks when school was out. The legislature would still be in there. They could still accomplish what they wanted to do. Given the disruptions that occurred, school closings and whatnot, does the legislator have a valid point? Should the teachers have waited? David?
I could argue either side of that issue. The day of the walkout was the first day of the legislative session. They were there en masse wearing their red T-shirts. On the first day, that's a day to make a point, show unity, show the collective opinion of the group. And even our local Donnie Lambeth last Wednesday commended them for being there, and he's on the conservative end of the spectrum.
But you said you could argue either way.
I could argue either way. There are only 3 or 4 weeks left in the school year, and it would have been less disruptive, particularly at the last minute. Parents, I think when schools close for snow or anything else, you don't realize the ripples that go through with the parent difficulties.
Absolutely. Dave Plyler.
I'll have to speak with a bias because I have 2 daughters who are school teachers, and I can speak without hesitation or reservation that in this particular case, the teachers are absolutely on the money, and the General Assembly is playing pure, solid politics.
I'm not sure that they'll get the raise one way or the other. I mean, there's a raise built in from last year that happened.
I'll second that.
But you'll second what Dave said. BJ?
From a practical standpoint, the best thing to do would have been wait. From an optics standpoint, to get the point across, the best thing for them to do was to go today.
All right, so BJ, are you suggesting that they wanted the disruptions?
I'm suggesting that they wanted to make an impact, and the best way to make an impact was to go today.
All right, speaking of education, a high school in Greenville, South Carolina warned parents that anyone who cheers, whistles, or applauds at graduation ceremonies will be fined $1,000. School officials say graduation should be a solemn occasion. You guys agree with that, and what do you think about the fine? Quickly, David Daggett.
Well, I don't know if it should be solemn. I just had a daughter recently graduate from high school. I was surprised at the amount of whistling, catcalls, and yelling. It needs to be toned down a little bit.
But the fine, $1,000 fine?
I don't think that's going to work.
Dave Plyler.
It's a pipe dream. It'll never happen because everybody's going to cheer, not because someone died, but because they got out of school.
All right, BJ.
Find the person who came up with this idea, $1,000, because I'm telling you, this is stupid.
That's right. Okay, changing topics. Sex offenders like Bill Cosby and Charlie Rose are now being stripped of their various awards and honors. Are you guys okay with rescinding awards or an honorary college degree when someone commits a crime, or should one have nothing to do with the other? David Daggett.
Well, it depends how bad the crime is. Yes, there's times when you strip awards. There's times when you don't. There's a continuum. Obviously, there's a dangerous middle ground, and that's difficult.
David Plyler.
David Daggett is correct, but you got to remember one thing. Charles B. Aycock, who was named after the school I went to in Greensboro, the Aycock Junior High School, was rescinded 100 years later because they said a white
name off the
supremacist.
building. Yeah, BJ.
Rescinded. If I was to receive that award, I wouldn't want to be associated with anybody that had that kind of
So if you got an
background.
honorary degree from a college that gave Charlie Rose an honorary degree and they didn't strip him, you would give yours back?
Would I give it back?
Yeah.
Yes, I would.
Okay.
I
Now,
definitely wouldn't put it down on my resume.
right. The Kansas legislature, guys, just passed a law that allows faith-based adoption agencies to turn away gay and lesbian couples based on religious beliefs. Now, with so many children in need of a loving home, does this new law make any sense to you guys? And do you think it'll be challenged in court? David Daggett.
Well, yes, I think it'll be challenged in court. I think those are tough ethical decisions that society is going to have to face. I think you always look to the best interest of the child.
David.
David Daggett always says the right thing, and in this particular instance, I would have to say, from my perspective, what my mother said. The Catholic Church says, give us your children and we will raise them Catholic. And that's basically what what could be a big problem and should be in the courts.
BJ.
Well, children have needs, and if those needs can be met, they need to be met. You know, I think it will go to court, and I think they will probably lose it.
Right, because the argument is a married gay couple can provide a loving home for a child, and should the child miss out on that? Okay, the president of South Korea has suggested that Donald Trump receive the Nobel Peace Prize for bringing North Korea to the table. Now, of course, the meeting hasn't happened; it may not. But do you think that if everything goes well, that President Trump deserves the Nobel Peace Prize? David Daggett.
I think it's way, 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 way premature to even be talking about
Dave Plyler.
I'll go one more. Way.
BJ.
I don't think that he's going to get the Nobel Peace Prize for this. I mean, you know, he can't get a fair shake with the media at all. So
No, I know.
He's not going to get
and
that.
you're a good friend with President Trump,
I am.
BJ, and I think you should get the Nobel Peace Prize for that. All right, finally, guys, according to a Business Insider magazine, weddings are getting more and more expensive. Speaking of which, Prince Harry and Meghan Markle's wedding is going to cost $45 million, with most of that going to pay for security. My question, guys, is, did your wedding cost $45 million, and did you hire security for it? David Daggett.
Well, Dave remembers my wedding. I did not need security, and it did not cost very much.
All right, Dave
And
Plyler.
David was married on Valentine's Day. You got to remember that.
We're talking about the cost, though, Dave Plyler. Did you
I
know
forgot
this?
that.
He forgot the question.
Did your wedding cost a lot, Dave?
No, we met at a church that had 50 people as a membership, and we just couldn't afford to pay their price.
And you are Mr. Security. What about you?
Oh, let me tell you something. Now, when I got married, it didn't cost anywhere near that. And I can tell you, as far as security, almost everybody there was a cop, so everybody had guns.
Yeah, BJ had 400 cops at his wedding. Oh, man. Well, guys, thanks for doing this. David Daggett, thanks for sitting in for Ogie. And, I want to do this. Researchers at Wake Forest University have just discovered that male and female bats don't talk to each other during mating season. Ask what the bat does after mating. One researcher said they go out for a bite. See the bats, they will, if they go out and, that's all.
You're under arrest.
We'll see you next week. Yeah, that's right.